King Janak once asked a question that burns the very ground we stand on. Is the search for truth itself just the final, most clever trick of the mind? The sage Ashtavakra met this with a silence that felt like a trial. He eventually spoke, calling it the most dangerous inquiry a human can make. It is dangerous because it leaves no room for the person asking it to survive. The moment you say search, you have already decided that the truth is missing. In that tiny assumption of absence, the illusion of the world has already won. Your brain is biologically wired to crave the chase more than the prize. Are you seeking reality or just the high of the hunt? Janak admitted his confusion, but the sage brushed it aside like dust on a table. Confusion doesn't mean truth is gone. It just means the mind is present. Clouds move within the sky, but the sky never feels crowded or confused. Yet the ego is a glutton for conclusions, turning restlessness into a sacred journey. Ordinary people chase money, but spiritual seekers chase hope, a far more addictive drug. This refined Maya doesn't distract you with noise. It hypnotizes you with meaning. It whispers, "Not now, later," convincing you that truth is a mountain you must climb. The truth is so close, it's actually invisible. Trying to find it is like a fish swimming across the ocean to look for water. Janak asked how ignorance could ever end without the effort of seeking it out. Ashtavakra laughed at the irony. Effort is exactly what keeps ignorance alive. Every seeker is incredibly serious, and that seriousness is just a mask for fear. Truth is light and effortless, but the seeker wants to feel important through struggle. The seeker is the last illusion, the final wall standing between you and the sun. You think the world binds you, then your desires, and finally, your ignorance. But the one who wants to be free is the one who built the prison in the first place. What if your spiritual growth is just your ego going to the gym to get stronger? If you stop searching, truth does not suddenly appear like a guest at a party. Appearances belong to the mind, but the truth is what remains when the theater closes. You don't stop searching as an act of will. You simply see the futility of it. Seeing is the end of all acts, while stopping is just another movement of the ego. The mind will keep asking questions, but you must learn to let them go unanswered. The mind feeds on answers, but it is eventually exhausted by its own questions. Search is Maya because it assumes a distance where there is only here and now. If you finally found the truth, the you that wanted it would be the first thing to disappear. Do not replace your worldly ambitions with spiritual ones. It is the same hunger. Do not replace your ignorance with knowledge. You are just changing the wallpaper. All replacements are movements within the dream, keeping you from waking up. When the movement of the mind is seen totally, rest happens without being chosen. This rest is so ordinary and so deep that the clever mind cannot even touch it. The search for truth is the last hiding spot for the person who wants to be someone. Janak sat in a silence that had no owner, feeling a fear he couldn't name. We reach for our phones in elevators because the narrator in our heads is terrified of being left alone with itself. Silence threatens nothing real, but it threatens the someone you think you are. The mind survives by building boundaries, and silence is the absence of all maps. Your mind interprets this stillness as death, and for the ego, it is absolutely right. You have lived your whole life as a voice commenting on everything that happens. Silence is the absence of commentary, and without that voice, you have no center. Truth is only dangerous to your illusions, just as fire is only dangerous to shadows. Janak asked if this silence could be practiced, and the sage shook his head in pity. You can't practice being still. That's just a person sitting quietly while their brain screams in a different language. Practice belongs to time, but silence is the timeless reality you already inhabit. The moment you try to produce silence, you have already turned it into noise. The mind is a factory producing meanings and futures you don't actually need. When you see the pointlessness of the production, the machines naturally slow down. True silence leaves no trace in the memory because there is nothing for the ego to collect. Janak asked how he would know he was free, and the sage laughed at the question. Freedom has no certificate. Only the person in the cage asks if they are out yet. Enlightenment isn't fireworks. It's finally realizing that the person looking for the fireworks was the problem. We are trained to look for peaks, but the truth is as flat as the ground. We look for transformation, but truth is the absence of the one who wants to change. Words are just thorns used to pull out other thorns. Afterward, you throw both away. When the claimer of your life is gone, everything remains, but the center is empty. Action still happens, but it happens cleanly, without calculation or residue. Love and compassion finally become pure because they no longer have an agenda. Death loses its enemy because only the owner of a life is afraid to let it go. A bird flies and leaves no path in the sky. A life without an owner leaves no scars on the world.